All right, everyone. So we're going to get started here with this Warrior Pro mentor session. And I'm going to be talking about the new small account challenge that I'm doing with TD Ameritrade this month. So I see you guys getting logged in. As you have questions, type them in the room. I'll speak your question out loud. So folks that are just watching on the recording, on the replay who don't have the chat access will know the question. So first of all, how many of you guys are currently trading with TD Ameritrade? I'll let you guys type in the room. All right, so Jake, Jeff, Piat, Brenda. All right, so Peter. Okay, Peter. I wasn't sure what your. Okay. Yep. So Holly, you've got it for charts. Okay. So it looks like there's a good number of you guys that are using or that have Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim is obviously it's a very well-known trading platform, and for the most part, I've been really focused on using platforms like CMEG, Lightspeed. Certainly CMEG and Lightspeed, they both offer direct access routing, so the order execution is going to be very fast. However, the downside of both of those brokers is that you have to pay commission, and you have platform fees, and you have real-time data fees, and you've got fees to wire money in and wire money out, and it's not as easy as just opening a TD Ameritrade account, which you can do, in a matter of a few minutes. And, it's just so streamlined. So I knew that there were a lot of people out there that within our community and within the larger trading community that can really appreciate a challenge using just TD Ameritrade, because it's the same tool that a lot of you guys have access to. So when I traded with CMEG, the offshore broker, obviously, they're down in the Caribbean, and I funded the account with $500. I made $53,000, which was awesome. And let me log into my account here. Let's see, hang on. And then I took all the money out. So the account now has, I ended up taking out a little bit more than I meant to. So I'm now sitting with an account balance in my CMEG account of $371. All right, so the CMEG account is back to below 500, and I could trade in it, if I wanted to, but until it gets back over 500, I don't think that I'm going to have margin. It shows my daytime buying power is $371. However, with $371, I could take 100 trades if I wanted to, right? Because as soon as I press the sell button, the cash is available to trade with again. Now, unlike this TD Ameritrade challenge, with TD Ameritrade, this is a cash account. A cash account doesn't require any special approval. It's not a margin account. There's no margin agreement. You are just putting in a certain amount of cash, and they will pretty much allow anyone to trade with it. So I wanted to do that because some people have had problems getting approved for margin or whatever the case is. And so I deposited $2,500 on the penny, $2,500. And today, I took my first two trades and I lost $29.19. The two stocks I traded, APEX, $141 of profit, and APOP, $171 in the red. Now, my available funds for trading are now only $278 because these two trades, I have to wait for them to settle before I can trade with that money again. They won't settle until the day after tomorrow. It's a 2-day settlement. It used to be 3 days. Now it's 2 days. And so what I was kind of planning with this account was that I would trade with half of my buying power each day. So today I would trade with $1,200. And then tomorrow I would trade with $1,200. And then the next day, today's cash would be available. So I trade with $1,200 again. And of course, I'm making money. Then each day I can trade with a little bit more and a little bit more based on the profits of the previous cycle. However, on my first trade today, I went into the red on APOP. And then when APEX started to pop up, I thought that the opportunity looked pretty good. and I wanted to go ahead and jump in it. So I jumped in it, and that meant that I used tomorrow's trade today, so I won't have any trades that I can take tomorrow. I think one of the biggest challenges of trading with a cash account is going to be the knowledge that when I take a trade, I can't just get out and get back in. Like, for instance, on APOP, and I'll pull up the live trading recording of this. So this is APOP from this morning. And before I actually go over this trade in detail, I'll just back this out for 1 second. I'll show you the gap scanner and how I found it and everything else. And maybe I'll show you a little bit about my platform here and how I've got this laid out. But on APOP, I got into the trade and it didn't really do exactly what I wanted it to do right away. And rather than just bail out and take a small profit, I held because I felt like, well, I don't want to sell and then watch it, rip up. I don't want to stop out and then have it go. So I'm gonna hold it until I'm definitely sure it's not gonna work. Well, by that point, it was down quite a lot, and I ended up losing really a lot more than I should have in terms of cents per share. And that happened because I'm trying to manage this cash account sort of issue. And I think that it's good that I'm kind of experiencing this because it can help me give sort of my feedback and my take on how to handle this issue if it's something that you're experiencing, which it's very likely that you will if you're trading in a cash account. So I think at this point, it's just simply a matter of fact that I can't jump into a trade and then jump out. I just can't do that because as soon as I sell, I've lost the trade and I can't trade with that money again for 2 days. So what does that mean? It means I have to focus on A-quality entry points, really solid entries that I feel very confident in. If I take aggressive entries like I took on APOP, then I have to be willing to bail out right away. If I take an aggressive entry and it doesn't work, I can't hold and hope and wait for the next clear 1 minute setup to form or 5 minute setup to form. Because during the time that I'm holding, if the stock is dropping, I'm just going to start losing more and more and more money. So trade the best, leave the rest. That's going to have to be the attitude as I'm doing this challenge. So let's look here. The way I have this set up, I'll just move this down and I'll move this down. So I set up my windows kind of like this. When I log into TD Ameritrade, the first thing is, let me just log out here. For 1 quick second. I want to show you guys something that you want to make sure you do. So if you've got TD Ameritrade already installed on your computer, which hopefully you do, at this window right here, you can click on this settings widget. And I increase this from 32 to 64. And I increase this from 768 up to 6144. I want to allocate a little bit more memory to the TD Ameritrade platform, only because it's so important that it runs really well and that it runs quickly. I don't want to have any issue with this not having enough memory to run well. So I've allocated a little bit more memory to it. Now, upon logging in, this is what the platform looks like. I laid it out like this. When you default log in, you're on the monitor tab right here in the top left. You go over to the trade tab, and then you can either be on all products like this, which is kind of this sort of layout, or you can click on Active Trader. Now I clicked on Active Trader. I populated 4 little panes here. So in each one of 1, 2, 3, 4, I can have a different stock on watch. The reason that I'm using the Active Trader tab or window here, which is what this is because this allows me to do a couple things. It allows me to adjust my share size very easily. It gives me the buttons to buy and sell, and it shows me my current position, my average price, and my P&L, all right here. So this makes it very easy to track where I'm at on this particular trade. So I have 4 of these windows set up, and then on the side right next to it, I have this window which shows my order execution and will show me if I have any open orders. So let's say I put an order, for 10 shares of this stock, and I put it down at let's just say I put it down to buy it way down here. So let's see. Oh, I don't have enough buying power. Okay, but let's just say I put it down there to buy. It would show me that I have an open order right here, and so that would prevent me from taking like an accidental trade or something like that. I'm actually surprised that it's. Let me turn off the auto send. Let's see. Yeah, so 10 shares. That's interesting. I would have thought it would let me take 10 shares, but oh no, it did. It did. Okay. So anyway, so now I've got the open order, so I go right click and I'll cancel that. All right. So it'll just help me kind of keep track of orders by having this window separate. If I didn't have this window open, then it would be a little hard to tell if I had an open order that was just sitting here pending and then executes later in the morning. So basically from this window here, I can just pop this out and detach it, and that's what I did. All right, now up in the setup bar right up here, the setup button, I went to application settings, and the first thing I did is I changed active trader to a 0 order submission limit. All right, because what will happen if you double click on this, let's say I double clicked 1,000, the first order, of course, will get rejected. And then the second one, rather than executing, will give you this pop-up that you'll get right down here. All right, so like this, if I did this buy and then buy, well, they're rejecting. Let's see if I do it quick. No, they're just gonna keep rejecting because I don't have enough buying power. But if you had the buying power, the first one will go through, and then the second one will populate this order pop-up right here. And so that's going to slow you down. So I went up here to settings, application settings, under active trader, went to 0, and then under system, I changed the quote speed from moderate to real time with no delay. So by doing that, I'm kind of tweaking this platform to run a little bit faster. Now, you don't have to increase your memory. For those of you guys using CMEG, you don't have to do anything on that platform to increase your memory. You don't have to do anything on this platform to change your quote speed. It's by default real time, and you don't have to do anything on this platform to change how fast your orders execute. So like, let's say on this stock, I put an order to buy, 1 share. So I click once, it's open, and watch this. I double click it, doesn't matter. Boom, 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 boom. They're all going, all those orders are going to the market. So you can do that. In TD Ameritrade, if I hadn't changed that, I would click buy once, and then the second time I click it, it brings you a pop-up. And it's probably for people like, my mom that would, double click the buy button and all of a sudden be like, I've got, too many shares. How'd this possibly happen? So they prevent that. But for someone like me that wants to do it quickly, I want to make sure that preventing mechanism is turned off. So they don't have that on Sterling, so you don't have to worry about any of those settings. Okay, so now we're back in here. Let's go up to setup and let's go to hotkeys. All right, so application settings, and we'll go to hotkeys. So the hotkeys with TD Ameritrade are limited. There's no doubt about it. We've got buy at market, shift 1. All right, so I press shift +1, that'll buy at market. How many shares? It'll buy the number of shares I've typed right in here. Sell at market, control Z. All right, that'll sell that number of shares at the market. Cancel all, control Q, and sell at ask. This one I didn't set up yet, but let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna put this at, let's see, control K. Control K will be sell at the ask. All right, so let's apply that setting. And now what I'll do on this, let's see, I'll just put it for a share size that won't work. So I'll put it for 1,000. All right, so if I press shift 1, it's gonna pop up this window. Now, if I had this checked to auto send, shift 1 would go ahead and auto send. So why don't I go ahead and I'll just log out of this real quick. I'll log into the SIM version, and I'll just show you in the paper trade mode how the hotkeys work. So basically, what I'm trying to do is, get the platform working well enough to trade quickly. I'm not expecting that the platform is going to be as fast as a $125 a month platform like I have with CMEG, or like what I have at light speed. I don't expect it to be that fast, but if I can get it to work relatively fast, then that's the goal. All right, so DPW. All right, so I'm gonna just press Shift 1. Let's see. Oh, I gotta turn on DPW, and I'm gonna turn the auto send on. All right, so I'm gonna click over here. I don't wanna be up here. I'm gonna just click anywhere down here. All right, so auto send, because what I don't want it to do, I don't like it to send that, the exclamation point. All right, so now I've got, let's see, 400 shares, Shift 1, 600, Shift 1, 800, 1,000. All right, now let's press it a couple times. So I pressed it a little bit too quickly and it popped up this alert. All right, so I can just go and double check. I thought these, so there we go. Got to change that down to 0, quotes. You shouldn't have to do it both for the sim and this, but in any case, all right, so now I've got 1,400 shares. I pressed it twice really quickly, and it's filling really quickly. Okay, so now I've got 2,400 shares. Now, if I want to put an order on the ask, I'll press Control K, and Control K sold 200 shares on the ask. Now, it's filling a lot faster than it would fill with real money, and that's just the nature of the sim. So Control K, Control K, Control K. And now Control Z, I'll sell the rest of it at market. Actually, Control Z is gonna still be 200. It would sell the rest of it in CMEG. So the nice thing with CMEG is, for instance, I can go to settings and under hotkeys, I can do Shift 1, I can do quantity. Shift 1 can be a certain number of shares, or I can buy based on a percentage of my buying power, right? I can do all these things. With Control Z, I can sell based on my entire open position, regardless of whether I've got 200 shares or 2,400 shares or whatever the case is. Or I can sell, you have so much more flexibility. So when you go to create a hotkey with Sterling, these are all your possible settings. With TD Ameritrade, your settings, well, you saw they're pretty limited. Under hotkeys, these are the available ones, and you can't modify them. You can only choose which key it works on. However, my goal here for you guys is that I'm wanting to show you that you can make money with a cash-only account, and that you can do it with TD Ameritrade. Because the nice thing with TD Ameritrade is that it's free. The commissions are free. The platform is free. So you can get in here and you can do this sort of as a side hustle. You can take a few trades here or there. So let's see. So why is this? So it's rejecting my borrow. So let's just press cancel all. Make sure I don't have any orders that are out. And then there we go. And there we go. So now I'm closed out of the position. So you can see how hotkeys on a stock in TD Ameritrade, that you can use them. They're not going to be quite as fast as some of the other platforms out there, but it's doable. All right, so now let's switch back and look at the live trading from today. So a question there, or a comment from Michael: be careful not to oversell your position because you will go short. And that's true. If you have, and that's definitely a risk that you would have with TD Ameritrade. However, most of the stocks that I'm going to be trading, they're not going to have shares available to borrow. Like we just saw with DPW, no shares available to borrow. So that's good. And you can also do a log into flatten position as well. I'll show you that. Flatten position is a button that you can press, and I could add it to my layout here. I'm not sure how much I'll use it, but flatten position, I go here to flatten and add, and I'll just move this up. So let's say I put it right there. So flatten will basically close your position regardless of the number of shares you're holding. So if you're holding 1,212 shares, you press flatten and you're out of the position. It closes it for you. So that's a nice button in case you get a partial fill and then you have to go over here and you start fumbling and you're like, oh my God, it's under pressure. Just click flatten. So it's probably worth it to keep that button there. It's probably a good idea. It's just kind of a little bit of a real estate issue of how much space you want to use. But you know, if you do something like that, then I could go ahead and add flatten to all of these. And it'll work whether you're long or short. Correct. Yep. However, that's also a good point, Michael. I don't have to worry about going short in this account because in a cash account, you cannot short stocks. So yeah, in this case, I could go ahead and press the Control Z button and bail out, and I don't have to worry about going short because it's not possible. All right, so I'll move this back down here. Okay, so now let's look at today. Now today was kind of interesting because this was my first day trading on the TD Ameritrade platform in a while. I did a little bit of a test of TD Ameritrade back in the fall when they went to 0 commissions, but I haven't used it since then. So today on day one, I'm back in the platform, but you can see my order windows. They're not all matched up. I didn't have a chance to copy the template. I was kind of surprised that there's not a way to save this template, and maybe I'm just like missing something crazy obvious, but there should be a way to save this template. So if I open a new one like I did here, here, and here, they're just automatically the same, but they were not. So I had to kind of make do with it being a little lopsided at the beginning. So I had this one on the top that was set up, and then the others were kind of messed up. So now, for instance, I want to add flatten to this one. I got to go add item, and then I got to move it up and make sure I put it in the same spot. And I'd have to do that individually for each one of these, which feels kind of silly. But again, you know, beggars can't be choosers. If you're trading with a free platform, make the most of it. You know what I mean? Like it's free. So I don't know if I like having the cancel all button that far away, but maybe we'll leave it there for now. I'm just thinking join ask is a button that I'll press and then need to cancel if it doesn't execute. So in terms of order flow, buy, join ask, cancel, flatten. That's probably more the order I would go in. So sell market would be if I was just hitting the bid with a small position. So I might do buy, join ask, sell market, and this would be based on this number of shares, and then flatten the balance or cancel all if I have an open order that's not executing. So might have to think a little bit about the perfect placement of these buttons for this challenge, but it kind of goes with you know, just a little bit of trial and error and feeling what works. Okay, so this morning, the first trade was on APOP. Now, this stock, you know, I kind of jumped into this challenge this morning. You know, I was just like, well, today's the first day of the challenge. APOP is the leading gapper, so, you know, it's the stock that I'm going to trade. Well, APOP pre-market had gapped up quite a bit, as you can see here, all the way up to a high of just over $8, and then had pulled back down to a little bit below $6, and then it was back up to about $6.30 when the bell rang. And this is the time right here. We've got the time up in the corner always. So I end up pressing the buy button. The stock is right here. The bell rang, and it dipped down. It tapped 660, it dipped down, then pulled back, dipped down again. And what I wanted to do was get in for the break over 660. My target was that a break of 674, which was this pre-market pivot, should lead to a move up to $7, maybe up to $7.25, $7.30. All right. So that's kind of what I was thinking about. So I pressed the buy market button. Now, the reason I did buy market, and I could do buy ask, but because these stocks move so quickly, I was concerned that if I did buy ask, that I might not get filled. And so I decided to go ahead and use the buy market order, which was small share size. I'm not super worried about from a slippage perspective. So I pressed the buy market button to buy 200 shares. And I wanted to get in at 60. The order executes and I'm filled at 68. So I'm filled like 8 cents higher. That's, you know, $16. That's not great, but it is what it is. All right, so now I'm in the trade. I'm up $11, $5. I've got my hand on the sell market button. So at this point, I'm ready to get out as soon as I have a little bit of profit. And what I'm looking for is for this to squeeze up to $7. All right, so I'm looking for $7. And I'm watching really over on this side here, the current bid, and then look at that drop. So now I'm in it and I'm like, okay, this obviously doesn't look good. I typically, when it came up here up to about, let's see, it hit a high of I think 88. And then when it failed to break over 7, I should have bailed out. You know, from 68 to 88 is 40 bucks. And so right here as it started to pull back, this is where I typically would have bailed out. But I didn't want to do that here because then what I felt was that I basically would have blown my one trade for today on a $9 winner. And what if this thing pulls back for 1 second, does a 1 minute micro pullback, and then rips over 7 and goes to 750? I'm going to be so frustrated that I stopped out for $9 of profit only to watch it do exactly what I thought it would do. I just didn't give it enough time. I wasn't patient enough. However, this entry right here was not an A quality entry. It was an entry that's okay to trade with a CMEG account or a Lightspeed account where you can get in and get out quickly, but it wasn't a good enough trade to trade with a cash only account. So now I'm in it. I didn't bail out when I should have, and then it dropped a lot more than I thought it would. This is a really big drop. I mean, this is a massive drop from 670 all the way back down to below $6. And just like that, I'm down 100 bucks. You know, I'm down 50 cents a share on 200 shares. So this was probably one of the biggest dollar per share losses that I've had in a while. The actual dollar amount isn't a lot, but the dollars per share is a lot. It's 50 cents. It's more than 50 cents on 200 shares. So, you know, I'm not happy about that. And I would say that the loss here, you know, really was the result of the kind of mental attitude that I brought to trading with a cash account, which is that I can't afford to just bail out if it doesn't look good. I have to really hold through it. And yet I didn't take a good enough quality trade to trust holding through it. And the stock had already done one big drop here, so I should have known to be more careful. So I jumped in it a little bit too quickly, and then when I ended up finally taking the loss as it broke down here, I lost 171, let's see, what's it gonna be? $171.04. So I ended up taking a really pretty big loss. Now at this point, I've used half my buying power on this stock, and I've obviously fumbled with the platform maybe a little bit, and kind of I'm getting into the, all right, I'm trading with a, you know, tiny account and it's a cash account. How do I do this? At that point, APEX pops up. APEX hits the high day momentum scanner, and you can see it hitting right down here at the bottom left. So I put in my order for 900 shares, and I'm watching it. I drop the order down to 800 shares, and I click buy. I'm clicking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what's going on? You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to press auto send. I forgot to check auto send. And so this place where I tried to get in right here at $1.27, the order popped up this window. And I thought it was popping up this window maybe because I didn't have enough buying power. Maybe I misjudged how many shares I needed. And so I was confused. And I'm like, what's going on? And then look at here, it's now ripping to 33. Now it's at $1.50, $1.50 up here, $1.61, $1.63. And just like that, I missed out on 800 shares times 30 cents, $240 of profit because I fumbled. I fumbled the pass. I forgot to click this one button. Now, this is kind of the, you know, this is the reason that it's so important to trade for a couple days in the simulator before you trade in the account with real money. And I'll say that I am at a place in my career trading where I can be a little, you know, I guess I can be a little bit overconfident, and I can be like, I can just throw myself in and I'll figure it out and I'll be fine. And today I missed an opportunity because of it. You know, I missed this great trade on APEX. So I should have been in this with 800 shares at $1.33. Okay. So now it's halted. It's going to be halted for 5 minutes. Dimitri, auto send means your order will send without popping up the confirmation window. So let me just show you here. Let's see. All right, so I can do auto send here. If I press this, it's going to send it right away, and it's going to reject it because I don't have enough buying power. If I turn off auto send, it's going to pop up this window, which requires me to come down and then press the buy button. But it still pops up even if you're past your buying power. So I thought, oh, maybe this is popping up because I'm past my buying power. I was confused. All right, so that was my mistake. So I should have had that checked, but the reason I didn't was because right at 9:20 or 9:15, as I logged in, I was like, I'd really like to watch more than just one stock at a time. So I'm going to need to pop out 1, 2, 3, 4 more windows. And they popped out with the default settings, which is why you see this volume and the buy orders here, rather than the way this one's set up, which is the way I prefer it. So anyways, so I missed this trade. The stock's now halted. Look at that squeeze from $1.04 to $1.63. All right, so let's fast forward here. So we're gonna wait for it to resume from the halt. And what I decided to do is I put out an order to buy 500 shares. I had 99% conviction that this was gonna open, squeeze higher, and we would probably see a move to $2, maybe $2.50. All right, so I put my order to buy. It's a 500 share order. The stock is still halted, and I press the buy button. So now my order is live. The stock resumes, and I fill at $1.77. Excellent. That's a terrific fill. And it surges up. Now I'm up $65, $45, $50. It hit a high of $1.90. Now I'm looking for it to break over 2. It pulls back for a second. This is the micro pullback. There's the break of 2, 204, 205. I'm still holding. I'm thinking about how many shares I want to sell. There's 208, 209. I'm up $150. All right. So obviously, had I gotten the full 800 shares at $1.33, well, today this would be a recap of how I made probably $300 or $400 trading in my small account. Maybe tomorrow will be that recap. So $1.85. So here I'm up $189. I'm still holding the whole thing though. I haven't sold any yet because I'm thinking this might rip up now to 225, maybe 250. So the question there, how do I calculate the number of shares for different stocks? That's the thing that's a little bit of a pain. I asked myself, what's 100 shares? So 100 shares of a $6 stock is $600. So I was like, okay, 100 shares is $600. So I'll take 200 shares of APOP, that's $1,200. 100 shares of a $1.33 stock is $133. So I knew I could trade almost 1,000 shares. So I brought it down to 900, and then I brought it down to 800. And then I brought it down to 500 as the price got higher. So yeah, I'm using my level 2. I have this full level 2 open on another screen, which I am looking at. The time and sales I've now added, but the level 2, if I add level 2 into TD Ameritrade, I can do it. It just kind of screws up the windows a little bit. It starts to mess up my use of space, but I could do it, and I might be okay with doing that. Because the only thing I really need on the active trader, honestly, is this stuff up here. So I might be okay with having it set up like this. And this instant buy, instant sell, I could scroll down and pop an order like right here at 47 or an order down here at 96. I can do that just by clicking. So it's a good question. Whether or not I'm going to use that in TD Ameritrade or not, I'm not sure. I'm still undecided on whether or not I want to use it on this or not. I just wish I could change the colors on it to match how I read it. And So I don't know. If I set it up, it would probably be mostly for the benefit of the screen recordings, because I realized that without the level 2, the screen recordings are a little hard to see what's going on. All right, so now we're up to $205. It's tapping 20. It does a little pullback here. It does break over 25. I think it hits a high of like 28. Yeah, 26, 27, 28. And this is where I click 100 shares and I click sell market. Confirmation. I click it again, I sell market, confirmation again. Now those confirmation windows sometimes, as you can see here, can cover your buy and sell button. So if I was trading off of this level right here, this window, this sell order would actually cause a little bit of a problem when it gives me that notification, because I'm going to click it twice. So I'll show you how to turn those off. All right, so there we go. So when I click it the second time, that's when I'm now covering my buy and sell buttons. That's not great, right? So let's go back in here to TD Ameritrade. We'll go to our settings. Let's see. Let me try to remember where this is. Display. Do not show. I think this is it. Remind me if I'm right or wrong on that. Is that the right spot? Do not show. I think that it is. Active trader system. Let's try. I'll just try doing an order and we'll see if it pops up. Or maybe in show order confirmation. Okay, so let's try this. All right, so well, that was just giving me that error anyways. Well, this isn't going to work because I'm not going to actually want to take a real money trade. So I guess I'd have to jump back over to the simulator. Anyways, I think that's what it was. I'm just going to click save the workspace here. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Okay. So thanks, Peter. Okay, so let's see. Let me pull my recording back up. All right, so first day of trading in the small account, the net here, I end up taking a little profit. I sell. I'm going to sell again. You know, and again, like I said, zero commissions is very appealing. I really, like, even for me trading with 2,000, 4,000, 6,000 shares, zero commissions is awesome. I spend a lot of money in commissions. At the same time, I generally think that the commissions have been worth it because my orders are faster. The systems that I use are a little bit more nimble. I can trade just a little bit faster, both with hotkeys and with the type of orders that I want to select, with selling half or using a percentage of buying power and things like that. So, you know, I do still think if I was going to choose one or the other for permanent trading, I would still go with a broker like CMEG or Lightspeed. CMEG, of course, the minimum balance is $500. So with $500, you can day trade. Now, this account that I have right now has $370 in it, but as soon as I have one winner and I get it back up above 500, I'm going to have 4 times leverage. I'll be able to trade with $2,000. So, you know, suddenly you can start growing that account really quickly. And, well, you know, I did last month, $500 to $53,000 in 17 days. I'm not expecting or even trying to achieve that type of performance with Thinkorswim. However, I want to prove that you can grow an account as a side hustle. And that this is really appealing for those of you guys that may only be able to trade a couple times a week because of your schedule, right? Because you can come in here, you don't have to worry about, there's no platform fee. So if you end up taking 3 weeks off of trading, you're not getting a $125 you know, platform fee billed to you. When you do take a couple trades, today, for instance, I lost $29, but how many commissions did I have? How many commissions would I have had? I would have had 1 entry and 1 exit on APOP. So that's $4. $2 plus $2 is 4. And then I had 1 entry on APOX or APEX. And then I sold once, twice, and then 3 times. So I took a total of 6 trades. So those commissions, even at just $2, would have been an extra $12 in commissions, plus there would have been a small ECN routing fee. So I probably would have spent an extra $12 to $15 taking these same exact trades at CMEG. And that would have meant that today I'd be down 45 instead of just down 29. And then plus you've got, a couple dollars a day that you factor as part of the platform fee. So, in terms of keeping losses small, for those of you guys that are trading with small size and you're still doing this as proof of concept, I think there's a lot to be said for using TD Ameritrade. And the nice thing with using a cash account is that I'm not restricted by the PDT rule. The pattern day trader rule states that in a margin account, you need to have a minimum of $25,000. But in a cash account, you can trade however you want. The only thing is that you've got to wait 2 days for the trades to settle. And you know what? It might not be that long before it turns into a 1-day settlement period. It wouldn't surprise me. It recently went from 3 days to 2 days. The next logical step is to go from 2 days to 1 day. And then, you can basically trade your cash balance every day. So I'm hopeful that happens, but maybe by the time some of you guys are watching this, as a mentor session down the road, that will be the case. And then you'll have even more of an advantage for trading with a broker like TD Ameritrade or E-Trade. But in the meantime, you can trade with half your cash balance every day. You trade with 1,000 on Monday, 1,000 on Tuesday. Wednesday, that first 1,000's available to trade again. And then Thursday, the next 1,000's available. So you keep just going, half the balance each day. As long as your account is growing, each day you'll be able to trade with a little bit more and a little bit more. On the flip side, if you see an opportunity like what I saw today, you may say, well, I'm going to go ahead and use tomorrow's trade right now because this is a great opportunity. And maybe you'll kick yourself for doing that tomorrow, but you got the trade. And actually for me today, I'm much happier to finish the day down only 29 versus down 171. So, and if I hadn't fumbled that trade, I'd probably be up at least a couple $100 on the day. So I think today was good proof of concept, and it was kind of ironing out some of the kinks. And that's another really big advantage of trading with small share size, because inevitably when you start trading with real money, there is a little process of ironing things out, getting comfortable with the platform, getting comfortable with your workflow of how you're going to use the platform. Where are you going to have your charts? Like right now, I don't have any charts on this. I just have this layout. But my plan, is that I just use, this is the one that I have. I have it up on a different monitor. And then this right here is actually a screen grab from 2 monitors that combines on the recording. So it's this from up there, and then this half of the monitor from my other one, which works well. But yeah, I don't know whether or not I'm going to go for adding the level 2 here to all of these, because then I'm going to start using up a lot more space. But the fact is, this ladder, I don't use it at all. In fact, I almost find it confusing to even look at. So it might be for the best for me to go ahead and do it kind of like this. And I would say that my time in sales, I do like to have a little on the bigger side. So this time in sales is getting a little small when I shrink it this much. But it's kind of just a little bit of a getting comfortable, and I'll probably rearrange this a few times before I settle on what really works best for me, both in terms of this kind of layout and also where I keep these buttons. Like this title bar here is obviously redundant with this one. These are both like the same title bar. Is there a way to get rid of that? I don't know. It might be kind of fixed there. So again, beggars can't be choosers. If you go trade with a free platform, just be grateful it's free. You've got no commissions. You've got no platform fees. So if you make a little bit of money on a side hustle, taking a couple trades a week, that's awesome. And as long as you can prevent yourself from having any big losses and you just kind of consistently make a little here, a little there, then that's the way to start. And the real way to start, obviously, is I'm going to log out of here and log in in the simulator, because you can log in both. You can, of course, do this with our Sterling simulator, which basically looks just like this. Let's see. So let me just log back in here. All right, so you saw how I was just logged in with my real money account with TD Ameritrade. So now I'm gonna log in with my SIM account. So it's identical, same platform. All right, so this right here is the Sterling platform, real money. So now let me log out and log into the Warrior SIM. Let's see. All right, so the Warrior SIM here. I'm gonna log in and check it out. Same platform as the Sterling trader platform that you use with CMEG. It's the same software. So training on the software you're going to use with real money is important. It prepares you. Whether you're gonna use TD Ameritrade or you're gonna use CMEG, just make sure you're practicing on the same software that you're planning on using. That way, all that experience is really paying off. And yeah, Brandon, you're right that there is no LULD indicator on TD Ameritrade, which for aggressive active trading and buying breakouts into halts and buying coming out of halts is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage. Although I don't know that this is really the right platform to be doing that type of really aggressive trading. I mean, I'm going to do it, but it's also because I'll be able to see the LULD levels on my my Lightspeed platform. I think generally it's probably just focusing more on solid, micro pullbacks and things like that is going to be the important thing. So Matthew, yeah, what question do you have on how to use TD Ameritrade? So let's see if let's go up here to setup, application settings, orders, show confirmation. All right, so let's try this. No, that's still showing the confirmation. All right, so let's try show messages for don't show. There we go. That's the one. All right. So you can see my position is changing, but it's not giving me that message. So that's what I would prefer. So Matthew's asking, I don't know how to get level 2 and order window and charts laid out. Okay, so when you first log in, you'll be logged in on this monitor tab, and this allows you to monitor your positions, all right? From here, you go to trade, and then under trade, you'll by default be on all products, and it'll look like this. If you type in a stock like, DPW, it's gonna look kind of like this. It doesn't look quite right. I use the active trader tab right here. And by default, when you log into Active Trader, it usually only has one window. So right up here, it gives you the opportunity of how many panes you want to have built out. And so for each pane like this, and I'll just kind of move this up here, each one will give you the option to open up these different gadgets, right? So you've got live news, and you've got the chart. I don't know why. Oh, I've got to type in a symbol, DPW. And then you've got your time and sales. And so you can click out as many of these as you want, and you have the same ones available for each individual pane. So I'm going to just go with my 4 because I think that that's more than enough for me. You could just use 1, or, it's whatever you prefer, but I'm going to keep it a little bit more simple, if you could even call it that, and just use 4. So I'm using the Active Trader. That's this right here. This is called Active Trader. And then the time and sales window I have right here. So if we pull up like Apple, for instance, Apple, I'm surprised nothing's populating in the time and sales, but maybe that's a sim thing with TD Ameritrade. So yeah, and it looks like you're having the same issue. E-Trade, Yes, I've used E-Trade. I did a full E-Trade review back in October, and my experience with E-Trade was really poor. It was by far worse than TD Ameritrade by a lot. So I would use Ameritrade over E-Trade, and that's why I am using it over E-Trade. Okay, so Jonathan says, you can get the time and sales, but you've got to call them to have them turn it on in the simulator. Yeah, and Michael's saying that under the charts, you can configure your charts and then save them. I know you have, you can do, you can save study sets and stuff like that. So you can go in here, and we do this as part of the Warrior Pro class. We do the platform demo, and that's where I go in during the platform demo and really show you, like, you know, but you can add a study here and go to the moving average and add a, you know, EMA, exponential moving average right here, and then go in and fix it and everything else. So, you know, you can do all that stuff. And the charting on TD Ameritrade is pretty solid. I mean, I use eSignal, but if I was on a budget, I would definitely just be using the charting that's part of eSignal, or part of TD Ameritrade. And then I guess I can detach this and, you know, and do these different things. All right, you guys, let's see. So I'll answer, I see some of you guys have questions about daily resistance levels, what I'm looking at on the time and sales, a couple of things with the live trading archive. So I will do some Q&A here. I want to answer any questions you guys have specific to the TD Ameritrade cash only side hustle challenge, and then I'll answer some of the questions you have on other things. So I'll just give you guys a question if you have, give you guys a second if you have any other questions on this. Gene. Nope. Thinkorswim is for TD Ameritrade. Yeah, it only works for TD Ameritrade. It's their platform. So William, what about the 3 trades per day limit? So there's no 3 trades per day limit. The PDT rule, the pattern day trader rule, states you have a limit of 3 trades for every 5 rolling, for every 5 days. But that's only for a margin account. This is a cash account, so I don't have any restrictions. However, I have to wait 2 days for every trade to settle. Would I recommend TD Ameritrade over Trade Zero for Canadians? I'm not sure. I don't know what Trade Zero, what their stance is on Canadians. If they accept Canadians, I would probably use Trade Zero, because I believe TD Ameritrade for Canadians, you still have to pay commissions. So I don't use stop losses on my orders. You know, you certainly can. The problem, of course, is that I'm not sure if it's an option on here for active trader. It might not be in TD Ameritrade. With Sterling, we do have a hotkey that you can press with one button, and it's a live stop order. So that makes it really easy to set that safety net. With TD Ameritrade, it's not as easy to set that safety net. And so you kind of have to mitigate the risk of, you know, stocks dropping by just being a little bit, I think, more conservative on position sizing, share sizing, until you've built up an account large enough that you can invest in some of the tools that, you know, traders who are making $25,000, $30,000 a month are going to use, like, you know, Lightspeed or a Sterling trading type of platform. But it's kind of a side hustle. TD Ameritrade, it is a little bit more limited in some of the things it offers. It certainly has stop orders, but they're not as easy to set up. It's a little clumsier. So to do a day trade, set the order, it's just would be, I think, a little bit too difficult. Yeah, and you can do bracket orders. That's true as well. Let's see, you can set up a bracket order here. You know, that is certainly one way you could do it. I don't usually like doing that because, you know, you're capping the gains, but you can. And again, I think for most people, you know, once you go to a platform like Sterling or like Lightspeed, it's hard to go back. Even though this is free, it's hard to go back because you've seen how fast it can be and how flexible the hotkeys can be to create just exactly what you want. But when you're getting started and you're on a budget, that extra $125, $130 a month in platform fees, and then the extra $2 for every trade you take, you know, that extra, well, it's $125 for the platform, and my commissions last month were $4,000. Did I make $58,000 and walk away net with about 53? Yes. So, you know, was the $4,000 in commissions worth it? Absolutely. But if you were a trader who was sort of right around break even, well, that 4,000 could have been the difference between break even and red, or between green and red. And so when you're kind of right on that edge, this gives you a little bit of an extra cushion, I think. All right, you guys, so I think that answers most of the questions on TD Ameritrade. As always, if you guys have more questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And now let me answer some of the questions that you guys had on some of the general things related to the classes.